Welcome to my $100,000 stock experiment, year 2, week 37, ending December 27, 2019. This isn't an endorsement to purchase any stocks that I bought, nor an endorsement to purchase stocks in general. I'm on a mission to become a great growth stock investor. Watch me on my journey, learn from my mistakes, and celebrate my successes. You might ask, what do I think it means to become a great growth stock investor? For me, I'd like to improve my stock selection and my buying. I'd like to be buying at the right time and the right stock. Selling, you need to be able to protect your capital, which I think I have that down when I set my floors when I first purchased a stock. But you also need to have defensive selling to protect your gains, which I'm not very good at, and selling into strength, which again, I'm not very good at. I'd like to be beating the S&P on a consistent basis, and I'd like to see gains of 40 to 100% a year, which you might say is aggressive, and you're right, but that's my goal. The S&P 500 is up 19 points since last Friday. It's above its 8-day and 13-day simple moving averages, and they are increasing. And the Russell 2000 was basically flat for the week. It was down 2 points since last week. It had a rough day on Friday where it closed at its 8-day simple moving average. At number 1, I put that green arrow that's showing that the 8-day, the 13-day, and the 28-day plus the 50-day are all going in a nice uptrend. But at number 2, showing the 200-day simple moving average is still not increasing at a rate that I'd like. It's not flat, but it's not accelerating very quickly. The VIX, or the volatility index, is also down in a range that I like to see it. The lower the better on this one. It did close the week at 1343, which has been higher than the last 2 weeks, but it's still between the 12 and 16 range that I like to see it. My plan last week was to sell anything that triggered a floor, but I sold Copart and took my gain in that. I had 2 buys in it, one that I've held about 10 weeks and I made just over 8%, and one that I held for 5 weeks and was basically even. I made a $7 gain in that. Since I sold those, I did have some buying power. I made a buy 3 for NIO, which was doing well. I did not buy my GPM because it was flat, it wasn't making any progress. And I did buy something for my watch list, stock called ZTS. Copart. This is the one stock that I had sold so I could buy my ZTS stock. It was still above its 8-day and 13-day simple moving average, but it was not making good progress. So I thought that a buy in another stock would give me a gain. So I took my profit and moved on to a new stock. Here's my current holding bar chart, where 1 bar represents each week that I've held the stock, and this is just for my B1 $10,000 purchase. So in the middle you can see CZZ is my big winner, and I did have a nice advance this week, as well as AMD over on the left hand side in the red. It also had a nice advance this week. NIO on the right hand side in the gray, that one had a nice advance this week, but the other stocks basically stay the same or went down. I take a look at each individual stock chart, and then I rank them in the order of my weakest to my strongest. So my 3 weakest stocks are eHealth, GPN, and Lulu. And you can see by this chart, I do have the biggest gain in eHealth, but I still think it's my weakest stock chart. It's not performing well right now. And my 3 best performers are CZZ at number 6, AMD, and then NIO is my strongest. eHealth. This is my biggest loser for the week. It's down just over 2% for the week. And last week, it didn't beat the S&P 500 either. Should I sell this and take my profits? I did raise my floor up to my 28-day exponential moving average. So if I do sell, I'll have a gain in my B1, but I'll still have a loss in my B2. Lulu. I've held this stock for just under 11 weeks and it's up 12.8%. It's basically flat for the week, and I did raise my floor to that 28-day exponential moving average. It looks like the 8-day is just about to cross up above the 13-day, so maybe this stock will start moving up. If I see a better prospect, this is one of the stocks that I would be okay selling. GPN. I've held this stock for almost 6 weeks and it's only up 1%. I can't tell if it's getting ready to take off or just going nowhere. The volume has dried up in the last 4 days, which I think is a good sign. We'll see if it takes off in the next week. I did raise my floor up to that 28-day exponential moving average, so if it drops, it will sell. CDW. I have 2 buys in this stock. One I've held for just over 14 weeks and it's up 17.6%, and one I've held just about 8 weeks and it's up 8.1%. It's basically flat for the week, and I did raise my floor up to this 28-day exponential moving average. ZTS. This is my new stock purchase this week. I've held it just this 1 week and it's up 0.4%. I did move the floor up to the 28-day exponential moving average. I didn't think I needed an 8% floor on this one. This stock gapped up last Friday and it's held its price, so I think it's taking a little rest and I'm expecting it to accelerate in the coming weeks. CZZ. I have 3 buys in this. One I've held just over 11 weeks and it's up about 53%. One I've held just under 11 weeks and it's up 43%. And one I've held just about 10 weeks and it's up 40%. Incredible gains. This is this kind of stock I like to see. I did raise my floor up to my 13-day simple moving average. This was my best weekly performer, up 4.8% for the week, even though it dropped 2% on Friday. I did raise my floor up to this 13-day simple moving average, so if it drops that far, it will trigger a sell. That's about 6% from where it is now. AMD. I also have 3 buys in this stock. One I've held for 8 weeks and it's up about 30%. One I've held just under 8 weeks and it's up 24%. And one I've held just under 5 weeks and it's up 17%. This is another stock that I moved my floor up to my 13-day simple moving average. It would have to drop again about 6% to trigger that floor. And it is up 4.6% for the week, which is great. NIO. I have 3 buys in this stock. One of them I made this week at the beginning of the week and it's down 0.2%, but my B1 I've held for 3.5 weeks and it's up almost 15%, and one I've held for 1.5 weeks and it's up about 7%. I did raise my floor on this to the 13-day simple moving average. And number 1 on this chart is where I bought this for my husband's 401k. So my first purchase of this stock was not in this experiment portfolio. So it's the next 3 boxes up that are my buy points for my experiment. The benchmark shows that in 1 year and 37 weeks, I'm up 48%. My $100,000 has turned into $148,569 versus $121,975 for the S&P 500. I have been beating the S&P 500 for the last 7 weeks, which is awesome. I only had 3 real contributors to my gains: CZZ, AMD, and NIO. The rest of the stocks were basically even. The stock that I sold went down $32 from last week to this week, and my new purchases went up $32, so that's a wash. My existing holdings went up a total of $2,706, and then I had an $11 dividend in the stock GPN. I look at the percentage gain each week for each one of my holdings, and I sort it with the lowest value on the top and the highest value on the bottom. I also look at how it compares versus the S&P for the week, and I drew that red line. So everything above that red line did not beat the S&P for the week, and the 3 that are below did beat the S&P for the week. So my losers this week started off with my biggest loser, eHealth, followed by GPN and Lulu. And my 3 biggest winners were NIO, AMD, and CZZ. This is my current dollar value gain on my $10,000 B1 purchase, sorted with the lowest amount on the top and the greatest amount on the bottom. So the stock that I just bought, ZTS, is up for $40, which is fine since I've only held it the 1 week, followed by GPN, which is up $117, but I've held that stock for 6 weeks, so that's not a very good gain. 2 down from that. NIO, I'm up $1,482, and I've only held that one for 4 weeks. So that's more the performance that I like to see. And then I look at all my buys, my B1, my B2, and my B3. My B2s I've highlighted in blue, where I have 2 buys in those stocks, and the stocks that I own 3 buys in are in the purple. I sort these again with the lowest value on the top and the largest value on the bottom. And ideally, I'd like to see all of my purple down at the bottom. The ones that I have my 3 buys in, I should be having the largest gains in. But NEO, I've only held for 4 weeks, and CDW and eHealth, I've held for 8 weeks or longer. So NEO, I expect, should be moving towards the bottom of this list in the upcoming weeks. Here's a spreadsheet that shows the weekly change, the year-to-date change, and the lifetime change for the S&P 500 and my experiment. My lifetime with this experiment started April 13, 2018. The week ending December 27th for the lifetime, the S&P 500 is up about 22% versus the Melissa portfolio, which is up 48%, which is great. The weekly change for the S&P 500 is up 0.58% versus my weekly change 1.86%. And the year-to-date, finally, I'm beating the S&P 500. I'm up 31.44%, and the S&P 500 year-to-date is up 30.34%. Here's the industry breakdown showing my 3 biggest concentrations are in medical, energy, and chips. And then I put those yellow dots that are showing how many buys I have in each of the stocks. At the end of year 2, week 37, I have $3,771 in cash. I'm likely to sell anything that triggers a floor, or I might even sell so I can buy a new stock. I would consider selling eHealth, Lulu, and GPN even before they trigger a floor. I didn't prepare a watch list this week, so I'll just be using last week's watch list, and I'm going to keep an eye for stocks that are going up in price on above average volume. Thanks for watching. Keep an eye out for my next episode, or better yet, subscribe to my channel. Don't forget to hit the bell if you want an alert when I post a new episode.